Documenting the chief complaints is performed in the subjective section. So when we select subjective, that brings open a number of chief complaints that we have available: headache, neck, mid-back, low back, pelvis, upper extremity, lower extremity, and then we'll talk about functional activity limitations. Very first, right off the get-go, we have COVID screening, documenting that there was a negative screening, and then documenting what visit this is out of the total number of the treatment plan visits. Next, we'll go ahead and select our chief complaint. So let's say that patient is in with neck pain as a chief complaint. Patient is having right-sided neck pain. It's radiating into the right arm, to the right elbow. Current pain intensity on a 0 to 10 is at a 7. The current pain frequency is constant. And we've got pain quality factors of aching and burning and dull pain, sharp and radiating. And the pain is aggravated by breathing and carrying and coughing, and it is relieved by ice, and it is getting worse. And so that documents the historical elements that are needed to properly document that particular chief complaint. Then we can move on to the next chief complaint. And let's say that it's low back, and it happens to be the right side of the low back. There's no radiation, but we have a current intensity of 3, current pain frequency of intermittent. The quality pain factors is that it's dull, aggravated by bending forward, and also lifting. And then what is the pain relieved by? We'll say heat, and this is staying the same. And so there we have our chief complaints of neck and low back pain documented. And then finally, to complete the documentation from a musculoskeletal perspective, is to move on down to the functional activity limitations. Now, this is just as important as documenting the pain and all those other factors regarding pain and where it's located, but also then what are the particular activities that are limited because of that. And so this is where we would document those functional activity limitations. And so we would go ahead and specifically select what activity is being restricted by the patient. And let's say sitting is being restricted by the patient. Today's limitation is actually that the patient can only sit for 10 minutes. And so we have that documented, and it is getting worse. And of course, we're talking about an initial visit here, and so we don't have anything to go on previous to that. And let's say that we've got functional activity of lifting. As we said, the patient has low back pain. That limitation today, in terms of number of pounds, is 10 pounds. And so we've established that as limiting factors for the patient in addition to their chief complaints. Now, this becomes an important factor, especially as you document subsequent visits, because you're documenting changes since the last visit, and we'll talk more about that in a subsequent module.